Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Mid-Tier Thoughts. So today, before we get started, I want to make a quick announcement. We have started a GoFundMe, the proceeds from which are going to go to supporting victims from Hurricane Helene. So the way that this will work is in the description of this podcast episode, there will be a link to our GoFundMe. Please, if you feel motivated, I would really appreciate it if you guys could donate money there. We're trying to raise $5,000. The end goal is that this will go to Samaritans Purse, unless anyone knows a more in touch on the grounds organization that needs the money more in the North Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee area. If somebody does, please reach out to us through our Instagram handles, which will also be in this description below. Let us know who needs that money more. With that, though, from what I'm hearing on the ground, it seems like Samaritan's Purse is the best place to get the most bang for a buck to help people out. That being said, as well, we are also coinciding this with a giveaway. So we want to kind of give back to those who are giving to help others. So the way we're doing this is us here at Mid-Tier Thoughts, as well as Taprack Tyler and a few other people have partnered together. We've reached out to a couple companies to put together a pretty cool giveaway package. So currently what we have is a $150 gift card to Cross Armory. They do a lot of Glock accessory type stuff that you can get from them. We also have the winner of the giveaway will get the $150 gift card to Cross Armory. They will get a TA20 EDC carry flashlight from Nextorch. It's about $90 on their website. You will get a free Core Essentials 1.5-inch EDC belt of your choice in color and buckle type. And there will also be some holsters from 1791 Gunleather, as well as we are working on getting even more stuff to make this an even bigger deal, and we will update you guys on what we get and how it goes as we go. The idea is once we hit our $5,000 mark, then we'll do the giveaway. If not, then we will just run it until we get as good as we can, or we feel like we've kind of expended out the help that everyone can give. At that point in time, we will announce when we are going to do the giveaway, do kind of a Instagram live type of deal and give it away on there. So again, the idea is that we're trying to raise money. I figured the best way to do that is, one, to give you guys a chance to donate through the GoFundMe, as well as we want to incentivize you guys to hopefully, give to this cause by giving you something in return, which is the chance to win those items in the giveaway. And just want to clarify, like, we're not getting anything out of this. There's no financial gain on our end in any way. We're simply just wanting to help. I'm out in Idaho, Taprack's in California. We're on the other side of the country. We can't physically get over there to help out, and we see what's going on down there in North Carolina, and our heart just goes out to those guys. And so this is the only way that we see that we can really help, is trying to put our YouTube and podcast powers, together for the forces of good instead of evil. So if you guys feel inclined, like I said, there'll be links down below. If not, I totally understand. And for those who are listening that are actively out there helping people, please stay safe. God bless. God be with you guys. It's really awesome to see so many Americans coming together to help out their fellow Americans. So with that being said, we'll just go ahead and jump right into it. So as we all are aware, Hurricane Helene has come through and has devastated the Southeast, hit 6 states: Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, parts of Virginia. I think even I read somewhere parts of West Virginia, like very southern West Virginia, and Tennessee. Obviously, a lot of the media coverage has been focusing around North Carolina. That seems to have been hit the hardest. And also as parts of Tennessee where, infrastructure is just gone. That you've seen for the videos on Instagram, you've seen them on the news, you've seen them on YouTube. There's entire towns swept away that, just as floods and mudslides and damage of biblical proportions, with a large number of dead and that number ever growing, and people who are going to be without power or without water for months on end. I think, we all saw and we all felt the same way and felt, really bad about, almost disgusted at FEMA's response and the federal government's response to coming into this and not doing anything in the initial days, and not only not doing anything, but stopping others from trying to help. There were plenty of people on the civilian side rushing in to help out their fellow man, people rushing in and trying to help each other out and do the best they can with what they had. I can't remember. It's killing me right now. I can't remember what their handles were, but there were 2 helicopter pilots I remember that were making their way on social media. I think they were popular on YouTube for doing car stuff, and they were flying missions in and out, saving people, bringing in food, bringing in water, and seeing people now getting all these donation supplies and driving stuff down, distributing things of their own money, of their own accord, through donations, however they're doing it. People taking their own time to go out and go do this. It's been really heartwarming to see that response to that. I think there's a lot of lessons to be learned for people all across the country as far as in terms of disaster response and prepping and kind of like what everything that this channel is about. And I just want to start with this too. I've said this a little bit before, but if you are in this kind of modern Minuteman lifestyle, and your idea is that you're only doing that to make sure that like it's all about you in a more selfish way, I don't see why you do this, right? For me, the idea anyway, at least, is that the reason I am prepared, the reason I prep, the reason I train, not only to protect myself and protect my family, but to be an asset to my community. And I think sometimes that's the part that gets lost on some people. I know that, at least from what I know of most of my listener base here, you guys are a lot more proactive as far as taking care of your community. But I think that there's some people in this space who it's definitely more about them than anything else. But you have to consider the fact that like um, you're not always going to be able to do this alone. You're going to need that community, and that community needs you, more importantly. If you have a skill set, if you have the preps, if you have the things that you need to stay alive, and you can be an asset to your community, then they need you just as much as you need them. You can look at these houses, these videos, these houses being swept away, entire towns gone, places like Chimney Rock just wiped off the map. And you could have all of the supplies. You could have a year's worth of food, year's worth of water, medical, guns, ammo. You could be a one-man walking, anti-apocalypse machine. But when that water comes through and just completely wipes your house off its foundation, you lose everything. And at that point, it doesn't matter how much food you had, how much water you had, how many preps you have. They're gone. You could be the most prepared person in the world. Gone. It's been interesting seeing how people have responded to this, and even people in like the modern Minuteman community. One of the responses I came across in one of the group chats I'm in, someone had said something specifically along the lines of, "You live in a hurricane area, this is type of stuff is coming every year, but you're not prepared for it?" Question mark. And it's like, how do you prepare for something like this? How do you prepare to lose your entire home? And it's like, yeah, it's North Carolina, and like hurricanes come through North Carolina, but they're usually more coastal. Up in the mountains like that, I highly doubt that they planned on a hurricane coming through, because that's not where they normally go. On top of that, it's like, even if you were prepared, even if you had the best setup ever, you can't prepare for a 40-foot wall of water to come wipe your house away. No one can. And I think that brings up this idea that like you can't prepare for everything. And so your preparedness needs to be skill based more than gadget based, right? And the idea that like if your preparedness is solely based on the fact of how much stuff you have and not how much skill you have, then all it takes is one natural disaster, one house fire, one hurricane, one earthquake, and you're no longer an asset but a liability. I think the other thing that this reinforces is that it doesn't have to be a civil war or global unrest or something like, incredibly kinetic for you to be able to use the skills that you're practicing every day and the things that you've learned and the things that you have. Look at people, and look at the people all over down here. If you're good at pulling security, that's definitely needed. Between the looters and some of the stuff that's going on down there from firsthand accounts that I'm hearing about, in some places it's really bad. In some places there's gunshots every night. People don't walk outside after dark. There's no power, especially up in the backwoods. There's all kinds of crazy stuff going on up there. So if you have skills in security, like, you're definitely needed. If you have skills in medical, that's definitely needed. If you've got food and water stores for more than just you and your family, but you can help out your others. I mean, there are people out there who, if they've lost everything, they don't have a home to go back to. They don't have food to eat. They don't have water to drink. And some of these people, they're not going to get that help for a while. They're stranded beyond, any type of modern infrastructure. This hurricane came through and basically set a lot of that area back to pre-Civil War infrastructure. Bridges are gone. Roads are gone. It's dirt paths and, having to find a way around the river. And so I think, again, looking at the devastation that's happened through here, it's so sad to see the lack of response from official entities. And by that I mean like FEMA, federal government, things like that, the slow moving bureaucratic wheel that slowly turns. And I remember I was talking to somebody before about this that I said, what's going to happen is a FEMA response is going to come in, and the FEMA thing is it's a numbers game, right? They're bureaucrats. It's a numbers game. They're going to look at what's the best bang for our buck. Where can we save the most amount of lives the fastest? And so they're going to go to the areas like Boone, like Asheville, the bigger cities. They're going to try to fix those. Then they're going to go out to the suburbs of there, and the suburbs of there, and the suburbs of there. Then out to the woods, then out to the smaller communities, and they're going to move out from the bigger areas. So if you're in some of these smaller areas, it might be a hot minute before the feds get to you, because they're going to look at it and say, well, if I only have X amount of resources, I can either save the town of 1,000 people, or I can save the backwoods road that has 10 people on it. So where am I going to go? Right? So they're playing the devil's math right now. Meanwhile, it's amazing to see our countrymen standing together and people coming from all across the United States with whatever means they have, coming together to go help their neighbors, to go out and brave the elements, brave the disaster zone areas, brave the treacherous roads, and get out there and make sure that people have the food, water, and medical supplies they need. I just watched a video on Instagram yesterday of a dude leading a wagon train, or not a wagon train, but a mule train up a mountain to bring a guy ice for his insulin. This is the kind of thing that it's like, this needs to be celebrated. Americans stepping up to help each other and seeing that in the face of disaster, they mobilized faster and more efficiently and more organized than any government entity was able to do. And they brought in aid and help and medical supplies, and they applied the skill sets that they had to go help these people. And that right there, that is the what I look at, and I see that is America. I know we've had a lot of things go on in our country the last couple of years, and there's been a lot of political division, a lot of things that have really worn us down morally and ethically and everything else, and where a lot of people have been feeling kind of defeated, or like, man, everything's lost, or what happened to our country. But seeing the people come together on their own accord, organizing through social media, organizing through different internet and texting platforms, coming together to coordinate and bring in their own responses, their own time, their own money, their own efforts, and come in to help their fellow Americans, to come in and help their neighbors. That is the America that I know. That is my idea of what America is. And I'm sorry if it sounds like I get a little emotional with this, but it's like watching that part, going through and seeing how many countless Instagram pages are like, hey, if you need help, this is where to go. If you want to help, this is who to talk to. And seeing the coordination and the level of coordination that has come through that, all through private entity, all through private people coming together to take matters into their own hands and saying, if the government won't help you, we will, because this is our job and this is our country and these are our people, and we will fill the gap. We will fill in the gap. That right there, that is what America is all about. That's what this lifestyle of the modern Minuteman thing is all about. It's not about having the Gucci gear. It's not about being super, tactical or goon boy out in the woods. It's about having the means and the supplies to be able to help your neighbors when they need it. And that right there has been the best thing I've seen come out of this, is the idea that we can show the world that we're not just going to sit on our ass and wait for the government to come save us, that we're going to mobilize with the means and the needs. We're going to mobilize with the means that we have to meet the needs that we can. Let the government be the one to fill in the gaps. We're here to help. And that right there is something I think is so inspiring to see. And that's part of what, you know, really just gets me jazzed up about being an American, is to see like stuff like that, to see so many people come from so far. I got to give the guy credit. PNW Gorilla, Pacific Northwest Gorilla. If you haven't heard of him, he runs an Instagram and a YouTube. He puts out some interesting stuff. I've had my disagreements with him in the past on some of his ideas and different things. Haven't always been a fan of him, but I'll say this: he's over the last year started a surplus company, sell military surplus, things like that, right? And he's grown it, and he's done a really good job of growing it into a very, very successful company. And now because it's October and winter time's to be coming soon. He is going across country with a huge stockpile of winter gear, going down to Georgia, picking more up of it up, and going down to North Carolina to drop this off to these people. And he's footing the bill himself, and seeing people like that put their money where their mouth is and say, look, I've got the means and I've got the ability. And, he's in Washington State. So he's going across the country, and doing that, and I wish I was in a position to where I was able to do something like that. That's part of the reason why we started this fundraiser is I'm not in a position to leave my job and drive down there and go do this, unfortunately. And I really wish I was, because you just watch this stuff and you want to do something. You want to help in some way. And so it's watching this go down like this and seeing so many people in this community, whether it be from the YouTube or Instagram space, stepping up and actually helping their neighbors. I can't get over that enough, man. Like, I can't tout their praises enough, seeing that and seeing people come together and show the world that, like, hey, we're not just saying this for Instagram clout. We're not just doing this because it's the cool thing on Instagram that gets views. We're not just, doing this to go play night vision Goon Boys in the woods. But when something happens and we need to step up, we are going to be the first ones there. That's just the best part about this is seeing so many people stand up together and come together and help each other out. I think that the things that we can learn as far as lessons learned is looking around and, Bush Plaid, if you, again, another guy from Instagram, if you follow him, he put out a really good video. He's one of these people who made it through the hurricane. He put out a really good video recently where one of the things he was talking about was, comms was a huge part of this. Cell phone lines went down, internet went down, no one could get a hold of each other. But you know what? For as much crap as everyone gave Baofangs, that's what got him through this. He's having a pack of Baofangs that he could give to himself and to his neighbors, to where they could all communicate with each other and they let each other know, like, what was safe, where they were, what was going on. He was able to do all that with those Baofangs. Communication was key. Having cash on hand, another huge thing. When our economy is based on electronics and the electrical grid goes down, cash is king. Having food stores, water stores, actual medical supplies, and the training to use them. And not just for yourself, but enough to be able to help other people out. That was a huge part that he made a good point about, because that's the thing, is like, these are your neighbors. These are the people you live with. These are the people that your kids go to their birthday parties. You go to church with them. You can't just leave them stranded. You can't just leave them to face this on their own. You live in that community. Maybe this is just me growing up in small towns my whole life, but like, that's the way things were, was that you didn't leave people behind when things hit like that. And if you did, you had to realize that you have to live with that. And everyone else in that town, like, this hurricane might have hit now, but the town's going to rebuild. The town's going to come back stronger, and they're going to remember who was there to help and who wasn't. And so that's something that's always stuck with me, is like the idea of helping out your neighbor, not just for the public shame part of that, but because it's the right thing to do. And it's been really awesome to see so many people step up for that. So many private citizens come together and say, we're going to do this. We're going to take care of our own. And then just the resilience of the people too in that area. I mean, Appalachia has always been known as a resilient people. Anyone from there will know that. Anyone who knows anything about Appalachia will know that those people are damn resilient. But seeing so many people, who've lost everything, and say, you know what? No, we're fine. There's somebody worse off than us. Go take care of them first. Come back for us when you've taken care of them. To see that, the spirit of people be so positive whenever they've lost everything. It's so inspiring. Like, I'm sorry if this is an emotional rant, guys, but like, I'm so damn proud to be an American right now at seeing how my fellow countrymen have stepped up to the plate and taken care of each other and how they're responding. I'm disgusted at our government, but I am so damn proud of our people. And I feel like a lot of people feel that way right now. And this one's going to be a little bit shorter of an episode. Sorry about that. I just wanted to put the update out there, really, about that fundraiser and kind of get my little rant off my chest. This has been burning in my heart for a little while, guys. But I think we need to really analyze sometimes, why we're doing this. Why are we prepping? Why are we training? What are we doing this for? What are our motivations? Are we doing this because we're, hoping that one day the sky falls and we get to go live out our warlord fantasies? Or are we doing this to make sure that we're ready and prepared to help people whenever they need it? Kind of like, I know this is going to sound kind of cheesy, but kind of like that scene from Fury, when they're talking about the Bible verse. And he says, the Lord said, "And who shall I send?" And he said, "Here am I, send me." And I think that that's important that we all really start looking at this and say, like, why are we doing these things? Why are we doing what we're doing? Are we doing it for the right reasons? I think for me, like the biggest thing I'm looking out of this is wondering, like, man, what would I do in that situation? What would I do if this was me? And really asking myself, not being hypothetical, like not doing going hypothetical and where I'm like freaking Rambo and be like, oh yeah, well I'd have my defense system set up, blah blah blah. No, like what would I do if I lost everything? What would be my plan? What would I do if I couldn't get a hold of my family like that for days at a time? For days at a time. What is my goal? What am I going to do? And so it's kind of helped me reanalyze my preparedness plan with my family and how we would communicate and how we're going to get through things should something happen. Now, luckily, I'm up in Idaho, so the idea of of a really any major disaster short of a uh, short of a forest fire or short of a blizzard, I'm pretty good. We don't really have too much that happens up here. We don't have tornadoes, we don't have earthquakes, we don't have um, tsunamis or hurricanes or anything like that. So we're pretty good as far as the natural disaster side goes. But just thinking through, like, man, what would I do in that scenario? What would I do if I just watched my house get washed away? So remember, guys, this is not going to be a short-term fix. And for all of you guys who have already donated time, money, effort, anything like that, I applaud you 100%, and you guys are heroes in my books. But just remember that this is not a, donate on Tuesday and it's done by Friday type of event. These areas are going to need to be rebuilt over years. This is going to be an ongoing issue. So let's keep plugged in and stay plugged in and see what's going on and how we can best help and what we can do. Um, with that, guys, I'm going to go ahead and cut this one short. Like I said, this was mainly just to push out the idea for the fundraiser, not to jip you guys out of an episode either. So I do have one more announcement with that. Mike, the original co-host with the show with me, has officially made the move from the Seattle area over to Idaho. So he's actually just down the street from me. So we are planning on doing another episode this weekend. So we will have a longer form episode, getting back to our normal content with me and Mike on with me and Mike whenever we are able to this weekend sometime. So we'll look forward to that. I just wanted to put something out about here, get my feelings off my chest about this hurricane thing, and really promote that. Promote that fundraiser that we're doing, guys. I really wanted to get that out there and just let you guys know what's going on and kind of how I'm feeling about this, and applaud you guys that have gone out there and done something for it. So we will again, like I said, get back to our long form episodes with me and Mike once we get back into that next week. With that being said, guys, thank you so much for everything you guys do. Thank you for supporting us. Please remember, link in the description is going to be for the GoFundMe. One thing I forgot to mention earlier is that every $5 you donate on the GoFundMe, we are going to count that as an entry into the giveaway. So the way that's going to work is for, you donate $20, you get 4 entries, and that will get you, your name in the hat 4 times. And basically, we'll just keep doing that until we hit our goal of $5,000. And then once we do, we'll do an Instagram live sometime that we'll announce, and the winner will get all the stuff. And like I said, the prizes that we have already, like I said earlier in the episode, we are still trying to add to that with as much stuff as we can from different companies as we can. It's a slow moving process. So the bundle will probably get bigger before we hit our goal. With that said, guys, thank you, and we'll see you on the next one.